Welcome to Loup TV. I'm Gene along with Doug for Friday, March 18th. Our two topics today are Apple and Porsche, their road ahead together potentially, and separately is EV and the home, specifically bilateral charging, what all of that means. And back to the top is that Wall Street Journal, CNBC today, and a number of other news outlets reported that Apple and Porsche could be working on some projects together. Porsche, like most car companies, supports CarPlay today. I'm going to look down at my notes and give you some of the quotes here. There was a video conference today with CEO. This is Porsche CEO Oliver Bloom. He said that Porsche and Apple cooperate closely and that they were, quote, on the same wavelength. As a side, Porsche is also considering entering Formula One. Porsche's executives, their CFO, has also met on the sidelines with undisclosed Apple leaders. This is based on Wall Street Journal reporting at last year's November LA Auto Trade Show. And lastly, Porsche CEO was quoted as saying, "We already have CarPlay. We will expand on that. We discussed a range of exciting products with Apple." And so these made our A topic for obvious reasons, is that when you think about Apple and potential addressable markets that they're getting into, the car market is probably the largest addressable market. We've gone and done some exercise and assuming that they get 10% market share at a similar ASP, what Tesla is at today, around 50,000. You could build a case that this could double essentially Apple's market cap. It is a significant lever just given the size of the overall market. But the go-to-market, the timing of it, it has been just marinated in rumors here. And I'll give you my take, and then Doug, over to you. My sense is that there is flip a coin, whether it is Porsche or some other vendor that Apple's going to be working with. I think what is most notable to me here is two things. Number one is that that where there's smoke, there's fire. Apple still, I believe, has an ambition to release a car. Whether they get there or not is a very different thing, but I think they ultimately want to do that. And the second piece is that when Porsche's CEO is talking about Apple by name, it actually makes me think it's less likely to be something substantial. I can imagine them doing other digital products together, integration with the phone. I forget the process when your phone can open your car as you approach it. You don't have to have a fob. And so I could see that. It just seems so out of character for Apple to be comfortable with a partner talking so far ahead of a product. I think that's probably not the core. If there is going to be a partner, it's probably not going to be Porsche. But either way, I think Apple investors can rest well knowing that Apple is trying to find a way forward in this big market. What's your take?
Apple should absolutely release a car, number one. And to your point, there's only so many big markets that really move the needle for them at this point, given how big of a company they are. And so if they really do want to continue to grow the business and add that next leg, I think that this is maybe the only thing that makes the most sense, because as we talked about before, cars at this point are sort of rolling consumer electronic devices. The other thing that I would take away from this, and we know just from Apple's model, Apple doesn't manufacture products. They use third parties to do manufacturing. And I think it's pretty clear that they're not going to get into the car manufacturing business, nor should they. The design and the consumer experience is really where they excel, and that's what they should focus on. And so I think this news bit about Porsche, I think, says they are trying to find the right partner. And I think there was news, I sort of remember news about maybe Hyundai several months ago, Apple and Hyundai rumors. There's been rumors about Magnet in the past. And so I think it is critical for them to make sure they do find the right partner that can create, the experience that they design and then deliver it to their customers in the right way.
I'm going to take final word on this. My best guess is it's still a coin toss whether this product sees the light of day. And if it did see the light of day, I think the earliest we'd see a prototype is 2025. Still good 2-3 years away from that. Our B topic today is around, also related to EVs, this time Ford, VW, and GM, exploring supplemental power to homes with this bilateral charging. The basic idea is that you take your car and you have the ability to charge your car from your home, but also you can switch it in the other direction where your car effectively becomes a battery for your home. And if you have a brownout or some sort of power outage, you can run your refrigerator, run your heat, or if you have electric heat or air conditioning off of your car, depending on what the load is and the battery size. You can get 3 days of usage. Again, that's pretty variable. But this idea of kind of a backup system, it's not just these companies. There's a company called Wallbox that is building a large factory. They're based in Spain, I believe, and they're building a large factory in the U.S. right now to help kind of integrate this more into the home. So when you have that charging station put into your home, there is basically a way to change that. Again, bidirectional. The car needs to be equipped with it to be able to do it too. So you need a couple parts in there. And my question, Doug, is does anybody really care about this beyond the person who's living in areas that typically get brownouts? I don't know how common that is. Does the average person care about something like this?
Probably not. And they shouldn't, because there's another practicality to it, which is if you are going to use your car for this purpose, there's obviously some wiring and some infrastructure changes that you would have to make to your house to do this. And so it's not that people may not be doing this in the future, but I think, again, with a lot of these technological innovations, there are practical challenges to adoption, and it will take a long time for us to see this being anywhere near mainstream. In my old house, we had a generator that was hooked up to nat gas, and it was great. Every time we lost power, it kicked right on and it worked like a dream.
So you liked it?
I loved it.
If you thought, I'm surprised to hear you said it was great. I thought you'd say we had a generator and it never turned on.
No, the Generac makes a great product, but that's the thing is you have to pay to get that whole thing hooked up, and it's not cheap. And so when you think about consumer adoption, you're talking about something that's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars probably to put in the proper equipment to make sure that your EV can, reverse the power source and then power your house, because that's what Generacs cost. I mean, it's a $20,000-$30,000 project that we're talking about doing that. So again, don't take me as, a technological hater. I know some people think I am because I can be skeptical of tech sometimes. I'm a rational optimist. And I think that that's the reality of it. It's not like this is going to be something where you just buy an EV and all of a sudden you can power your house with it. You need to do the heavy lifting of the infrastructure too.
I'm trying to think the number of times that we had power outage. I think a year ago we had our power went out. We had to run and get some ice. I was out for like a day or something like that to put in the fridge. It was a hassle, but I can't remember. Probably was several years before that. And maybe that's more acute, but you said you experienced it. I believe you were in Jersey. Was that during the hurricane?
It was during a hurricane. The generator ran for almost a week straight at one point. I mean, it was incredible. It's a great product. But to your point too, I think most people probably don't ever experience long duration outages like that. So, it is a great feature. Don't get me wrong, but it comes with a cost to get set up to make it work. And it also comes with the reality of, it's an emergency use case. It's not something that every day you're going to be using your car as a generator.
Let me ask you this. How would you, let's say this wall box has a module that costs $2,000 to install it. And it charges it, but yet you can kind of reverse it and hook it up to your fridge and your AC. Would you say that's I guess you want to run all the lights in your house too, all of that. Would you say that is, would that change your view of the adoption curve of this if it was a couple thousand?
Not really, but I also don't know that thinking that it's only going to cost a couple $1,000s is practical, because you also have to hire a professional electrician to install it.
$2,000
so
you've
got labor too. Yeah. I mean, this is over time, costs will come down. They always do for technology products. But again, I'm just saying, be practical about it. It's something that will be in homes. We think about the world 10, 20 years from now, for sure. But it's not something that in 3 years or 5 years, it'll be commonplace in homes. I don't think it will.
Makes sense. Makes sense why they're working on it. And first things first, let's get the adoption of EVs up to a point above mid-single level digits before we start thinking about changing out home and infrastructure on power in the homes. On behalf of Doug and all the fun things that are going on in electrification and automation of vehicles, and Gene and Loup TV, bye for now.